Cold smoked salmon, hot smoked black cod, smoked wahoo with mango salsa, and smoked coconut creme brulee. Fish meets smoked at the beautiful JW Marriott Star Pass Resort in Tucson, Arizona. I'm Stephen Raichlen, and this is Project Smoke. Lox, sable kippers, some of the world's greatest smoke dishes come from the sea. On the hook today, Scandinavian smoked salmon, hot smoked black cod, and smoked wahoo with mango salsa. Let's fire it up. We've got our swap out there for the salted fish. Yes, please. Okay, Andreas, let's stick it here. Okay. Oh, yeah, we don't need these up here.
You're gonna hang one?
I think two hanging looks better.
Okay, so
yeah.
take it and I can make two.
So can we have those in already?
These?
Yeah.
Hanging?
Yeah.
There?
Yeah.
Done.
It's a simple formula. Fish plus salt plus wood smoke minus heat equals cold smoked salmon. But the result is highly complex. I'm gonna show you how they smoke salmon on the island of Bornholm in Denmark. This is luscious, rich king salmon we had flown in from Alaska. What you want to do is run your fingers over the fillets, feeling for pin bones, and pull them out with needle nose pliers. In our house, we eat salmon only when we can get fresh wild salmon, and we don't mind waiting until it comes back in season. The next step is to salt the salmon. I'm using sea salt. You want to put about 1/3 of the salt under the fish and the remaining 2/3 on top. Now, salting was originally done to preserve the fish, but it also adds a tremendous flavor. Now we'll salt the top of the fish. The salt will draw some of the moisture out of the fish, firming up its consistency. Cover the salted fish with plastic wrap and let it cure in the refrigerator for 24 hours. Paul, you got my swap out? Thank you. After 24 hours, some of the salt has been absorbed into the fish, some has dissolved with the moisture coming out. If you touch the fish, it's no longer raw. The salt has cured it, almost partially cooked it. The next thing you want to do is rinse the salmon in a pan of cold water to rinse off all of that excess salt. Once the fish is rinsed, place it on a wire rack, blot off some of the excess moisture, and let the fish dry in the refrigerator for 4 hours. This will give the surface a slightly tacky consistency, and it will help the smoke adhere to the fish. Meanwhile, let me show you how to set up the smoker. To smoke this salmon, we brought out the big gun, an offset barrel smoker with a vertical smoke chamber. You want to build a bed of hot embers, so light the coals in a chimney starter, crumpled piece of newspaper in the bottom, natural lump charcoal in the top. The vertical shape will funnel the heat upwards, giving you even ignition in about 15 minutes. And I have a chimney that I lit earlier. You can see the coals are ashed over. So simply dump the coals into the firebox. There are two basic ways to cold smoke salmon in an offset barrel smoker. The first, you place a hotel pan in the bottom and fill it with ice and place a wire rack over the ice. Then grab the fish and place it on the rack over the ice, the wider side toward the fire. Remember, it'll be hotter at this end of the smoke chamber than this end. For smoking fuel, I'm using beechwood. Beechwood is a fuel they use on Bornholm Island in Denmark. At one point, this tiny island in the North Sea had more than 120 smokehouses. You can still see the whitewashed chimneys today. And here's the traditional way to smoke salmon, hung vertically in a smoke chamber. How cool does that look? Smoking time with either method, 12 hours. Here's the salmon, smoked, chilled, and ready for serving. You can see it's beautifully bronzed with smoke, and that beechwood has a really interesting aroma. The traditional way to serve smoked salmon is on a slice of brioche toast. Smoked salmon. Then you can add some capers, dill, chopped egg, That salmon melts on your tongue like butter. It's like smoke mingled with sea spray next to the ocean. From Bornholm Island, Denmark, it's cold smoked salmon. Traditional beverage, aquavit. Skål.
Rolling, quiet please. And action.
Some people call it sablefish, others black cod. Its buttery texture and mild flavor make it a great fish for smoking. Here's how they smoke it at the Tutka Bay Lodge in Alaska. I'm not much of a fisherman, but when I visited the beautiful Tutka Bay Lodge in Alaska a few summers ago, I actually caught a black cod. It was very exciting. And the chef of the lodge took the fillets, cured them with this salt, fennel-coriander mixture, smoked them, and a few hours later, I was eating my own smoked black cod. It was very thrilling. Start with a 3-pound black cod, and to fillet it, make an incision behind the gills. Now run your knife along the backbone on one side of the fish, then the other. And again, it's a cut right under the gills, and then you just kind of slide your knife above the backbone. And then just trim off any black portions. Now, there's a line of bones that runs the length of the fish, and you want to make a V-shaped cut on one side, then the other, to remove the bones. I'm going to leave the skin on. It will help give the fish support during smoking. Next step, prepare the rub. It's a sweet, salty rub with aromatic spices: fennel, coriander seed, white peppercorns, and bay leaves. Roast the spices in a dry skillet for a couple of minutes to bring out the aromatic oils and fragrance. This roasting technique is used in India, Southeast Asia, really anywhere where people value the aromatic intensity of spices. Now transfer the spices to a spice mill. Take the freshly roasted ground spices and place them in a mixing bowl and add sea salt, light brown sugar, and granulated sugar. And as you know, I like to mix the ingredients with my fingers. That way, if there are any lumps in the brown sugar, you can break them up. So once you have the rub made, you want to put about 1/3 of the rub under the fish. And we'll sprinkle more rub Come up, do the same thing here. Cover the fish with plastic wrap and cure it in the refrigerator for 3 to 4 hours. Then I'll show you the smoker. We're using a ceramic cooker, sometimes called a Kamado-style cooker. And I've filled it with lump charcoal and scattered among the charcoal alder chips. Alder, of course, a wood popular throughout the Pacific Northwest for smoking seafood. And what you want to do is light an igniter. And lean a couple of pieces of charcoal over the igniter. This is a slow spread ignition technique. That is, you light a few coals, those coals light the coals next to them, and it gives you a very slow burn for a long period. It's great for smoking at a low temperature. Then you want to take the heat diffuser, sometimes called a convector plate, and place it in the cooker. And I like to cover it with aluminum foil. This facilitates cleanup. Now place the cooking grate and close the lid. And the way you control the heat on these cookers is by opening or closing the vent at the bottom and the vent at the top. What we're looking for is about 225 degrees for smoking the black cod. So here's what the black cod looks like after it's cured for 4 hours. The salt has started to draw some of the moisture out of the fish. Rinse off the excess cure. And once your fish is rinsed, place it on a wire rack over a drip pan. You're not losing the flavor because it's already penetrated the flesh of the fish. What you are losing is the excess salt. Then you want to blot the fish dry with a paper towel. Let the fish dry on the rack in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes. The surface should feel tacky, slightly sticky, so the smoke will adhere to the fish. The fish has dried for 30 minutes, and we're at 225 degrees. What you want to do now is oil the grate. The way I do that, folded paper towel, dipped in oil, drawn across the bars of the grate. Fish is notorious for sticking, so you want to oil the grate very well. Now next, lay the black cod fillets on the bars of the grate. And close the lid. Adjust the vent to keep that 225 degree temperature. Smoking time about 1 hour. Fast forward 1 hour. Let's see how we did. Nice. The way you check for doneness, it's what I call the flake test. You press the fish and it will break into clean flakes. Use a palette knife to slide the fish off the grill. One, just kind of ease it off the grate. Two, yeah, beautiful. All right, let's see how we did. Take a little piece, look how easily it cuts, and I'll put it on a slice of grilled bread. I really love black cod. It is so buttery, so sweet and so moist. Smoked black cod. Serve it hot, serve it cold. Either way, it belongs in your repertoire. I'm continually fascinated by the notion of smoked desserts, right? Because you don't think of a dessert as being smoked normally. But wood smoke has this amazing ability to kind of transform the sweetness of dessert into a sort of caramel flavor. So that's the inspiration for these Coco Loco creme brulees. The first step is to crack ripe coconuts in half. Make a custard by combining heavy cream, coconut milk, a split vanilla bean, and finely grated lemon zest. Bring the mixture to a boil in a saucepan. In a large bowl, place granulated sugar, egg yolks, and cornstarch. Whisk to mix and continue whisking until smooth. Gradually add the hot cream to the egg mixture and whisk again until smooth. Place the custard mixture in the coconut shells. Preheat your pellet grill and smoke roast the coconuts to cook the filling and infuse it with smoke flavor. When the custard is set, transfer the coconuts to a sheet pan to cool. Sprinkle the top of each custard with granulated sugar. Then caramelize it with a blowtorch. The burnt sugar aroma is incredible. You get sweet and smoky. To me, that's the perfect dessert.
Maybe how about 4 pounds? You put aside 4 pounds for us on Wednesday?
Definitely.
Next up, a fish from my home state, Florida, where the Hill family has been smoking wahoo at the Key Largo fisheries for decades. Drive the Florida Keys, as I often do living in Miami, and you'll find a lot of fish shops. Visit any one of them, and you'll see rectangles of a dark smoked fish called wahoo. Wahoo was a classic game fish of the Florida Keys before the advent of refrigeration. It would be brined and smoked over a local wood called buttonwood. Wahoo is a big, oily game fish, but thanks to a unique double marinade and a slow smoke over buttonwood, the flavor becomes as fine and elegant as you could wish for. Step number 1, remove the skin. Slide a knife under the meat and over the skin, then pinching the skin against the cutting board. Cut it away from the fish. Now you take the skin off because it's rather rubbery, especially after smoking. Cut the wahoo into 2-inch chunks. This smoking technique has been popular in the Florida Keys for more than 100 years. Next, make the brine. First, add 1 quart hot water. Then add 1/3 cup salt. And whisk until the salt is dissolved. Once the salt is dissolved, add 1 quart of ice water. Once the brine is cool, pour the brine over the wahoo and brine the wahoo for 12 hours. This dish gets a sort of double cure. There's an overnight brine to salt the fish, and then what's called a seasoning, and it's a vinegar, oil, spice mixture. And the fish goes in it just for about 20 minutes before smoking. It really gives you a bright, clean, sharp flavor that counterbalances the oiliness of the fish. After the wahoo has brined for 12 hours, prepare the seasoning. It starts with vinegar, paprika, black pepper, garlic powder, and vegetable oil. Whisk these ingredients together to mix. Now add the fish to the seasoning mixture and stir well to coat on all sides. The vinegar helps neutralize the gamey flavor. Marinate the Wahoo in the seasoning mixture for 20 minutes. Meanwhile, I'll show you how to set up the smoker. I'm using an electric smoker. The fuel are these sawdust discs, which are made from whiskey barrel oak wood. So you can place them in the hopper. You set the temperature here, 225 degrees. And then we'll just come back and take the Wahoo out of the seasoning mixture and arrange it on the grate. I love the color that you get from the seasoning. And there's a nice vinegar aroma. Once the smoker is up to temperature, place the rack with the Wahoo in the smoker. The cooking time is about 1 hour. With the smoked Wahoo, I like to serve a Florida-inspired condiment, a fresh mango salsa. I think you'll find that the smoky fish and sweet fruit go together really nicely. Start with diced mango, diced cucumber, diced red onion, Scotch bonnet chili, diced fresh ginger, slivered mint, brown sugar, and fresh lime juice. Now mix the ingredients with a spatula. This is so colorful, and the mint is really refreshing. And just check the seasoning. Nice sweetness, nice heat. There you go, mango salsa. So it's been an hour, the Wahoo should be ready. Oh man, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And to check for doneness, you just press with your finger and the fish will break into clean flakes. Arrange the Wahoo on a serving platter. Oh, I am getting so hungry. Let's see how we did. And a spoonful of the mango salsa. And now, the moment of truth. Beautiful bone white fish in the center. Wow. Nice smoke flavor, not fishy at all. Super aromatic. Try it with the mango salsa. That takes it into Technicolor. Electrifying. So there you have it. Smoked fish from Denmark, Alaska, and the Florida Keys. It's Project Smoke, from sea to shining sea. Oh yeah, that is a beautiful king salmon flown in straight from Alaska. Look at that thing. Is that beautiful or what? What do you think, Chris, about 12 pounds, 15 pounds?
Yeah, 15.
Oh, nice. Some people call it sable. This fish is so fat and buttery that the pliers can't even grip the pin bones. Smoked coconut creme brulees. Snip, snip.